Hello one and all, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking you through my solo travel trip to the mighty state of Texas at the age of 17. Firstly, I would like to apologise for my absence on YouTube over the past few months. I am back now and I'm back for quite a while because I've got some fantastic content coming up over the coming months. So without further ado, let's talk about my trip to Texas. On the 22nd of July, I left home at 3:30 AM for Heathrow Airport. We drove down in the Polestar 4 and it was a very smooth ride, as much as I don't like electric cars. But we arrived at the airport and I said goodbye to my dad and I walked through the security area very easily. It was very fast and very quiet. And then I just took a wander around the airport waiting for my flight. And at 8:20 AM, I was all boarded up and we left the airport at 8:45 AM. The flight was relatively smooth, and once we boarded up and we got to cruising altitude, I had myself a can of Canada Dry ginger ale, and I absolutely love that stuff. I had several cans on the flight over there, and they brought around a little breakfast, which was okay. It was aeroplane food, but it was okay. And it was the first time I tried tater tots. They are pretty much Americanized small hash brown bites, so I like them. I'm a big hash brown fan. Later on in the flight, they brought around some ice cream, but that was all we had on the flight because of the timing of it, the time of the day. It was only covering one main meal period, unfortunately, so I was rather hungry when I arrived in Texas. And that's it. Upon arrival, I collected my baggage and I went to meet my aunt. Then we drove to my aunt and uncle's lake house, and that afternoon we went to Brahms for an ice cream, and I haven't been in 13 years, so that was a very nice treat, I must say so. And then we went home and I slept pretty much the rest of the day, bit of jet lag, but I woke up at 6:30 AM the next morning and we sat out on the deck with a coffee and some tea and just relaxed as the sun rose. Throughout my first week at the lake house, we visited Walmart, which is effectively a big American Asda. And yeah, when I say big, it's huge, and they sell guns, so it's rather different to a traditionally British Asda. We also went to the car wash and washed my cousin's Volkswagen Jetta TDI, and after that we captured a raccoon. Not the sort of thing you'd expect to be doing at, 6 o'clock in the morning, capturing a raccoon. So yeah, we caught the wrong raccoon, unfortunately. We intended to capture 2 kits that needed rehabilitating, sending to somewhere safe for them, because they had unfortunately lost their mother. But later on, we did see the kits wandering around themselves, so they seem to be okay, and I've had reports now that they are grown up. And at the end of my first week at the lake house, me and my aunt drove to Dallas in the Jetta, visiting my cousin and his wife for some food. And we went to the Guy Fieri restaurant, the Chicken Guy, and the food there was superb. We then moved on to Fort Worth, where I would be staying for the next couple of weeks with my eldest cousin and his wife, and my aunt exchanged his Jetta for her Volkswagen Tiguan. We also did a variety of activities, and these are what stood out the most to me. I loved going to the DFW Car and Toy Museum, and there will be a video coming on that. 1 of going around the car event and going inside the museum, and 2 of one of all the cars leaving and accelerating onto the highway. I'm interrupting myself here, but I'd like to say to all of you who are thinking of going to America, go. It is such a fantastic place, and I guarantee you'll have a splendid time. And if you have any questions about my trip that go into further detail than this video, please drop a comment and I will certainly answer to it, because I want people to go to America because it's such a great place and I had such a fun time, and believe me, I cannot wait to return. We also visited the famous Buc-ee's gas station, where I purchased some of their beaver nuggets, which were, fantastic. They did not disappoint. And one of the mornings, my cousin and I went to the First Watch Cafe, which was a superb breakfast. I had a couple very large carrot cake pancakes and a youthful coffee, as I would say, full of caramel and cream. And then we went to the Fort Worth Zoo, which was a hot experience because we were outside a lot in the sun. But that was a great day seeing all the animals because I haven't been to a zoo in a very long time. We also went to La La Land, which is a fantastic coffee spot, great coffee, and went several times. I must have spent a good $40 there. And there's other fast food restaurants we went to, such as Taco Bell and some other Mexican places. And Mexican food did not disappoint. It surpassed my expectations by a long margin. It was basically a food tour to the greatest state of America. The best Texas barbecue I had was at Dane's Barbecue, and that was in Aledo, Texas. It was a great barbecue. There was so much food split between 3 people. It absolutely filled me up. The selection of meat and the peach cobbler burnt ends were probably my favourite piece of meat on there, along with the brisket. And I also got the chance to film a BMW X3 M40i, which for a long time has been one of my favourite small compact SUVs with the infamous BMW B58 engine up front and nearly 400 brake horsepower, just under 376-ish or 382 in America. And that car was really nice and sounded fantastic. The video of that came out in August itself and it did quite well, getting nearly 2,000 views. And I have no doubt that is down to the fantastic sound of the M performance exhaust system. And the next morning, I was woken at 5 a.m. to a thunderstorm, which, as you can see the clips here, is very loud and just amazing to see. We don't quite see storms like that in England. They are huge in America. Proper lightning, fault lightning all over the sky. And I also went to a car wash for the first time, an automatic car wash, that is. Yes, I hate what they do to the paintwork of cars, but it was free. And I also saw a good-looking Lexus LC500 on the way. And for those who don't know, that is one of my favourite GT cars for its 5-litre naturally aspirated V8. Myself and my cousin's wife drove over to Rockwall, which is just the other side of Dallas, to visit my aunt and uncle, and we saw their old house, and we went to Costco and had lunch at Costco, and it was great. I love the pizza there. But the old house I hadn't visited in 13 years. It was 2012, the last time I visited there. We also visited the botanical gardens for a walk around where I saw my first snake of the trip. It was big, and I don't think it was a venomous one. I believe, so I've been told it was a rat snake, so we're all good there. And it was very hot afternoon at the Fort Worth stockyards, and it was very, very, very stereotypical for a western town in America. It was very hot. There was brisket shops and beef jerky shops and Texas Longhorns everywhere. It was super cool and it was interesting to see. And later that night we went to the DeLuca Gotcho pizza place. We arrived back at the lake house. We took a drive back down the highway and we washed the Dodge Ram, which was the most difficult car I've ever washed because of its size. However, the bed was very helpful to wash the roof to climb up. So yeah, we went to Brahms again, which was certainly a treat, and I will always go to Brahms when I go to America. We also went kayaking on the lake, which was super fun. And we went to Twisted Root for a burger, and that burger was possibly one of the best of the trip. Later that week, I went to stay with my other cousin and his wife in Dallas, and we went to a Irish pub. It wasn't quite a pub like it is in the UK, and I had fish and chips, which were, really good. They were more like fish goujons and chips, but they came with a coleslaw and a tartar sauce, so that was very tasty. We also went to the Dallas Aquarium, which I went to a long time ago, back in 2012, and I had a milkshake and cookie for dinner. So, yeah, really taking on a Texas diet. I also filmed my cousin's BMW 330i X-Drive, and that review is coming in just a few days' time. So make sure you click subscribe and press the notification bell so you do not miss that video, because it's possibly going to be the best review I've ever filmed. And we went to the famous Raising Cane's, which I really enjoyed. The food there was just as good as people say on the internet, and I really liked it. It was great, and the Texas toast never disappoints. one of my favourite parts of a meal. We also went to a place called Torchy's, I believe it was called Torchy's, and we had tacos. And those tacos were very, very good. Again, Mexican food on my trip did not disappoint. It was certainly my favourite. Upon arrival at the Dallas-Fort Worth airport, I went and got myself a barbecue brisket meal with some Texas toast, some fries, and some mac and cheese, which was very tasty. And I would recommend getting brisket when you're in Texas. So yeah, that was a final American hurrah, a final Texan hurrah to get a proper barbecue meal. And with that, I think it's time to call this video to an end. I really loved my trip to America. I absolutely love the United States, and I cannot wait to return to Texas. It was such a superb trip, and I'm so excited to return. 1 for the cuisine, 2 for the loud cars. And yeah, that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one. The rest of the videos are going to be coming out through the end of January, February, and possibly the beginning of March as well. So I really hope you enjoy all of those. I will be responding to as many comments as possible. Fingers crossed, all of them. So yeah, go down into the comment section, leave a comment, ask any questions you'd like, because I'd love to answer some. And I'll see you all there. Goodbye.